G.
Yo oh 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 oh. What's up people? It is I, Marshall Queenston, and today, I bring to you my review of the new 𝕸𝖆𝖗𝖗 record, The Universal Want. I got to say that I was kinda caught off guard by this record. I was aware of 𝕸𝖆𝖗𝖗, I was aware of like their massive hiatus that lasted for the entire decade, and when I found out they were going to release something new, it was barely a week before the album came out, so it felt like...
Oh damn.
So, this is kind of an extraordinary review. Is this album any good? Well, it's not a bad record but it's certainly not one of the best too. And in the beginning, I swear to God I even considered that this could be 𝕸𝖆𝖗𝖗's best record, but the more it went, the less enthusiasm I had for it. While the songs in a general are not bad, all of the songs give me the exact same feeling. I go like, oh, it's a cool indie rock/dream pop song that has a fun chorus and it's melodic, but that's pretty much all the album has really to say. I wasn't expecting it to be stylistically all over the place like a 𝕸𝖆𝖗𝖒 Sawayama record, but I was at least expecting all the songs to be easily distinguishable. Seriously, if you put to me songs of this record in shuffle right now, I would be able only to tell the positive highlights apart from everything else, the rest I would have to guess with a lot of uncertainty. And talking about the positive highlights, it's a good time to talk about them, but from now on, I've decided to transform the positive and negative highlights part into one, the track by track, just so I can talk a little about every single song of this record, even though it's gonna be pretty difficult to give entirely distinct descriptions to each song, but let's try. Track 1. Carousels. It's hard for me to actually tell something about this track, since as I said, it's not easily distinguishable, but at least I can say I like the transition between the chorus and the pre-chorus, the synth part in the second half of the chorus and the ending of the song, but overall, nothing special. Track 2. I Will Not Hide. Alright, so I'm already starting this saying that this track is a positive highlight. It's by far the most dynamic song on the entire record, and that's saying something, since it begins with a nice acoustic guitar riff, then the melody of the verses is very fun. It gives me this feeling that this is the theme of someone growing up in life or something, which is fitting considering the lyrics of this song. Then the chorus is basically the rhythm of the verses but with an extra punch, like someone poured sriracha over it. This is a compliment, since I like spicy food. And then after the only chorus of this song we have a small soft break that is followed by a guitar solo, that goes on until the end of the song. Based on that, I think it's pretty much obvious that I really like this song. It has a cool melody, everything sounds right, and yeah. Best track of the record. Track 3. Broken Eyes. This song begins with a more chill guitar line, that has sort of a Caribbean feel, then Jez Williams start to sing a really nice melody that is followed by this nice acoustic guitar going on in the background, and then when it reaches the chorus, it feels bold, gigantic, beautiful and powerful. At this point I already knew this song was going to be a positive highlight, and it was only confirmed the more the song went. The second verse of the song is pretty much the same thing of the first one, just with different lyrics, which is not a bad thing, since the first time around it was pretty good and it gave me the feeling of, I wanna hear that again. After that the Caribbean guitar comes back and it goes on in a small instrumental segment, then it comes again with the chorus, then we have the chorus again but instrumental and followed by the outro. Overall a pretty good song, but as you might expect by the description, it's a little repetitive. Track 4. For Tomorrow. The fourth track of this record begins pretty nicely, with a good percussion following the opening verse, then in the pre-chorus a smooth keyboard line comes along until the chorus. That is one of the best of the entire album, and at this point is where I started to think that this might be 𝕸𝖆𝖗𝖗's best album as I said. But the same song started to show its flaws later on, flaws so severe that it made it lose its status as a positive highlight I was going to give. That is the fact that this song after a while it starts to feel stretched. If it ended like at about the 3 or 4 minutes mark, it would be fine, but no, it kept going, and I started to think when the hell this is going to end, and the more it went more elements were being added and I went to check the length of this track and it was only 5.5 minutes. It's not even that long yet it feels like an eternity because of the unnecessary outro, that not killed the song but definitely decreased the quality of it. Resuming it all, a pretty good song with a disastrous ending. Track 5. Cathedrals of the Mind. I don't really know what to say about this song. It begins with this keyboard line that feels a little average, the verses are average and the chorus is a little above average. The only part of the song that I feel like it has something good to talk about is that the second verse has this really tribal sounding percussion, that gave a nice contrast to the dream pop feels of this track, but that's pretty much all that this song has to offer. In other words, it's average. So much so that it becomes a negative highlight to me. Yeah. Track 6. Prisoners. This is the point in this record that I started to feel like the record was losing its initial strength. The verses are good and all and it has a nice guitar, but it's not much to brag about, since this song doesn't even sound like an actual 𝕸𝖆𝖗𝖘 song, it sounds more like just another song by a wannabe dream pop band that is inspired by 𝕸𝖆𝖗s, but not really them, especially because of the harmonizations in the chorus that I feel like they need to be replaced by something else, because they sound so damn dated. Yeah, this song is not really good. But it's better than Cathedrals of the Mind, so it's not a negative highlight. Track 7. Cycle of Hurt. Here the album gains a little of strength after the slump it passed through in the previous track. It begins with a fun guitar solo, the opening verse is pretty atmospheric and spacey and the chorus is literally the guitar from the intro. It's not a very unique song, but much of this album really isn't. But it's a pretty good track that I have fun listening to, so I recommend everybody to check that out. But not really good enough to be a positive highlight. Track 8. Mother Silverlake. This song is a little different, it has this jazzy keyboard, a funky guitar rhythm and the backing vocals melody remind me a little of Cage the Elephant. So with these elements, combined with the great chorus, ladies and gentlemen, we have another positive highlight here. It takes it due to the fact that is one of the feel tracks of the entire record that is easily distinguishable and also legit because it's a pretty good song that in certain occasions it also reminds me of Sympathy for the Devil. So, Cage the Elephant and Rolling Stones in a single 𝕸𝖆𝖗𝑠 track. I guess that's a pretty interesting combo, ain't it? Track 9. Universal Want. This album was missing a ballad so far, and we finally got it in this track. This track is very serene and smooth, it's genuinely one of the most interesting tracks of the record, it has nice contrasts between instruments, the bass performance is pretty good, but later in the track the song gains strength for one lengthy outro that is nowhere near as stretched sounding as for tomorrow's one. It's a pretty good track, and a positive highlight to me, but honestly I feel like the album should have ended here. Not only because this song works perfectly as a closing track but you'll see the other motive now. Final track. Forest House. I mean, this track begins decently enough with a nice acoustic guitar line that feels pretty natural and all, but that's all the song really has that stands out in a positive manner to me. The rest of the song feels like a Radical Face knockoff that tries to be powerful and lively, but in reality it's a pretty bland song. At least I can say it's the only track like this in the record, which is good, but to be honest, I don't see a reason for this song to exist. It's a negative highlight. I don't hate it, but it's also not very good, and a pretty disappointing closing for the record. Right, so this album it's not bad, it's in general pretty consistent and it has some of the best songs 𝕸𝖆𝖗𝑠 has ever released. Some elements of it, especially the vocals, reminds me of X and Y era Coldplay, which is something I enjoy, so kudos to them, but the fact that the filler tracks of this record are so mind-numbingly bland and legit feel like they shouldn't be there is a problem. The Universal Want has a lot of good intentions and it honestly serves as a pretty compelling return of 𝕸𝖆𝖗𝑠 to the musical landscape, but it definitely could be more. It's a nice record overall, but not too extraordinary, so I feel like a 7.1 out of 10 is a fair score to this thing. Hey, thanks for watching this video until here. What are your thoughts on this record? What would be the score you'd give to it? Please, share your opinion in the comments, and don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to my channel if you want to support my work, cause it helps a lot. My name is Marshall and see you next time.